describe the solar eclipse, and here in Walker County it'll be a partial eclipse, so you need to wear eye protection at all times. And how do you view this eclipse safely? Well, there are multiple ways. The most common is to buy eclipse glasses. You can get this at local stores or at the Science Center, or maybe the schools have even handed them out. But you need to wear those at all times during the eclipse, which will start about 1:03 and go to 3:52 p.m. on Monday. So you need to wear those eclipse glasses. If you don't, you can damage your eyes. And people seem to be skeptical about this, but the truth is, your retina doesn't have much in terms of nerves that register pain, so it's easy to damage your retina and you wouldn't even know it. I'll remind you guys that the astronomer Galileo, who used the first telescope, went blind looking at the sun. So don't be like Galileo and go blind from looking at the sun. And when I observed an eclipse back in '79, I didn't get my eye protection on fast enough and I damaged my right retina. I burned it. So it is very important you use eye protection. If you don't have eclipse glasses, you can use like pinhole projection by punching a hole in a sheet of cardboard and projecting it on the sidewalk or something like that. Or you can reflect the sun off of a mirror onto a screen with the mirror in an envelope. So there are things you can do. You can use number 14 welder's glass, but don't try to make a solar filter yourself. Buy it from somewhere, okay? And if you look through your glasses outside and you see things other than the sun, your glasses are bad, throw them away. So be very careful looking at the sun and pay attention to your eyes. When you look at the eclipse, don't look at it for more than 2 or 3 minutes, okay? And then turn away, do something else, then look back. Sunglasses, shades, are not good enough. So do not think your sunglasses will protect your eyes on the solar eclipse, okay? Remember that. Sunglasses are not good enough, nor is covering your face with your hands. I've had people ask me that. Nor is closing your eyes and peering at the sun with your eyelids. None of these things are good enough. So guard your eyes, because your eye is not a broken bone. If you damage your eye, it will not grow back like a broken bone. Eye damage is permanent. Remember that and take care on Monday. Now, what's a lunar eclipse? So, yes, sir. No, that's a partial solar eclipse. Lunar eclipse, yes, sir.
Isn't it where the Earth only blocks the moon from the light of the sun?
Yes. In a lunar eclipse, the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. In a solar eclipse, the moon casts a shadow on the Earth. So, and if you were on the moon during a lunar eclipse and looked at the sun, the Earth would be blocking it, so you would experience a solar eclipse on the moon. So eclipses are not just confined to the Earth. But we're going to focus on the Earth today, on this upcoming eclipse. And of course, as we just said, the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, blocks out light, and it casts a shadow on Earth. That shadow has 2 parts, the umbra and the penumbra, which are Latin words. If you are in the umbra, which is the darkest part of the moon's shadow, you will see the moon completely cover the sun. It'll be a total solar eclipse. If you're in the penumbra, the moon will only cover part of the sun, so it'll be a partial solar eclipse. Here in Walker County, you will have a partial solar eclipse, not a total one. The moon will cover 99.5% of the sun, depending on where you're at. But there will be a thin sliver of a sunlight left. So here in Walker County, not a total, but a partial solar eclipse. If you want to see a total eclipse, you've got to go north of Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. That's where we live. My kids are up there. Yeah, if you're on the north side of Soddy, you'll see a total one. On the south side of Soddy, you'll see a partial one. So Soddy Daisy's on the southern limit of the path. And this is a NASA animation that shows the eclipse when it gets fired up. You see the moon passing between the earth and the sun, and you see it casting a shadow on the earth, and you see the umbra and the penumbra. That shadow will start out in Oregon and move to South Carolina, so it'll cut completely across the U.S. That shadow will move at 1,500 miles per hour, which is Mach 2. So it's about as fast as our fastest fighter jet. So that shadow will be moving across the United States at 1,500 miles per hour. And everyone in North America will see some form of eclipse. Most of the North America will see a partial eclipse lasting 2 to 3 hours. There will be a 70-mile wide path from Oregon to South Carolina that will give a total solar eclipse lasting about 2 minutes and 40 seconds at most, so for 2.5 minutes. If you're in the path of totality, that 70-mile wide path, the sun will be completely blocked by the moon. The sky will be like twilight, not completely dark. You will see the planets and some of the brighter stars, and you will also see the corona, the sun's atmosphere. The biggest city in the path is Nashville, Tennessee. So people living in Nashville will see a total solar eclipse. And here is the path, right here. And you can see it cutting across from Oregon to South Carolina. And that's 70 miles wide. Everybody in the U.S. is within 1 day's drive of that path. It might be a long day's drive, but they're within a day's drive. So what's so special? Eclipses happen all the time. There can be as many as 5 solar eclipses per year, as little as 2. Well, this is the first total eclipse in the lower 48 states. We call that the contiguous United States, or CONUS. We don't count Alaska and Hawaii because they're not joined with the other states. Since 1979. So this is the first total eclipse in what we consider the lower 48 states since 1979. And it's the first one since 1918 to cut completely across the United States. So it's the first one in 99 years to completely cut across the country. So what was going on back in 1918, 99 years ago, when the last eclipse to cut across country? Yes, sir. Huh? A lot of people went blind? Fortunately not. But what was going on in 1918? Does anybody know? Yes, ma'am. Which war? Yes, sir. World War I. Long time ago. Also in 1918, most people didn't have cars. They still used horses. So this is the first eclipse to cut across the U.S. since cars really got popular. It's also the first eclipse in 700 years that shadow only touches the United States. That's why we call it the Great American Eclipse, or the American Eclipse, because the moon shadow will only touch the United States. It's the first time in 700 years, and the next time this will happen will be in 300 years, in 2316. So, you know, this is why you hear Great American Eclipse, and it has nothing to do with the president or Congress or anything like that. It's because the shadow only touches the United States, no other country. There have been a lot of eclipses. As I said, here's a few of them since 1918. The last one that touched anywhere in the United States was in 1991 in Hawaii. I had friends go out there, and they went out to Hawaii, and they were clouded out. But at least they were in Hawaii, right? If you're going to get clouded out, it's a good place to get clouded out. The next total solar eclipse in the U.S. will be on April 8th of 2024, in 7 years. That path will cut up Texas through Massachusetts. It will not cut across the country, and if you're going to go see that one, it's a longer drive from here, of course. It won't be as close as this one. Here in Chattanooga, or Walker County, the time of maximum eclipse when most of the sun will be blocked is 2:33 p.m. The eclipse starts at 1:03 p.m. and ends at 3:58 p.m. So here in Walker County, these are your times for maximum eclipse and the duration of it. Since it is a partial eclipse and the sun will not be completely blocked, you need to wear eye protection at all times. Okay? How many of you have eclipse glasses? Okay? Okay. So that's the big deal. You can cause severe damage to your eyes if you look at the sun without protection. So your eye has this thing in the back of it called a retina. Who can tell me what a retina is? Yes. It helps you see, that's right. The eye has a lens in front that focuses light on the retina, and that helps you see. There are rods and cones in the retina. The problem with the retina is it doesn't have much in the way of nerves back there. So you can hurt the back of your eye and not feel it. Okay? So it is possible for you to hurt your eyes severely and not know you've hurt your eyes. And an example of that is back in 1979, that eclipse. I flew from Atlanta to Seattle to see that eclipse. And it was a total eclipse, and when the moon began to leave the sun, when the sun began to reappear, I did not get my eye protection on quick enough. And I didn't think anything of it. And 2 years later, I went to the eye doctor to get a new pair of glasses. And he gave me an eye exam and said, you know, the back of your retina is burned. And I had hurt my eye during that eclipse. And your retina is not like a bone. If you break it, it does not heal back. You do not recover that damage. Okay? And I'll remind you guys that the first astronomers to use a telescope, Galileo, went blind looking at the sun. So protect your eyes. That is the most important thing you can do, because you can do damage to yourself. Safe ways of looking at the eclipse: eclipse glasses. There are special binoculars with permanently mounted solar filters. They're not your dad's binoculars. They're called solar binoculars. You can use a wielding mask with a shade 14. I'd like to see y'all outside wearing one of those, huh? You know? If you have a telescope, you need a solar filter that attaches to the front of a telescope. So these are safe ways of viewing the sun by looking at it. Now you can also look at it, view the eclipse without looking at it. You can punch a hole in a piece of cardboard and project the sun on a sidewalk. And you can look at that, the sidewalk. And that's a safe way of looking at it. It's very cheap. All you need is a piece of cardboard. You can also go outside where there are leaf shadows. You know, the shadow of the leaves on the ground. They will show little eclipses between the leaves. So you can look on the ground for leaf shadows and see the eclipse there. You can also put a mirror in an envelope and let it reflect the sun on a piece of paper and look at the piece of paper. Don't look at the mirror. So there are all sorts of ways of viewing the eclipse without looking at the sun. Safety. Sunglasses will not do. All right, I know you guys all look cool in shades, but sunglasses are not adequate. You will damage your eyes. So do not try to view the eclipse with your shades on, nor 3D movie glasses. Okay, I get asked. You also can't do this number and peer through your fingers. That's not safe. Nor can you close your eyes and squint at the sun and think your eyelid is going to protect you. None of these ways work. Okay? So There's a safe way and there are unsafe ways, and shades and the techniques I described won't work. 3D glasses, none of that will work. And don't try to make your own filter, all right? People have tried making it out of the mylar you find in balloons. They've tried, using film, photographic film, though I doubt some of you will know what that is. They've tried all sorts of ways. Smoking glass, not trying to smoke glass, but holding glass over a candle to darken it. So they've tried all sorts of ways. None of these ways work, okay? What's wrong with this? This gal is wearing approved glasses, but she's looking with a pair of normal binoculars. What's wrong with it?
You'll see it too close up.
No, but yes, sir. Yeah, but she's got the glasses on. Won't that block the light out? Why not? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Because the glasses are meant to be far away, but if you use the binoculars, the glasses won't be enough to protect your eyes.
No. You want to try it?
The sunlight will come back into the binoculars, and then with the glasses on, it won't do anything.
No. Have you guys ever taken a magnifying glass and started fires with it?
Yes.
Okay, so those binoculars are going to act like a magnifying glass. So what are they going to do to those cardboard glasses? Yeah. So that is dumb. Do not do dumb things, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Me and my friend Gavin, we used to find little ants, like little ant colonies, and we'd do that. But we do it with my glasses.
Yeah, I don't talk about that. I did that stuff, but that's harming insects, so I don't talk about that. But
Giant fire ants.
yeah. But anyway, that is dumb, so do not do that, please. Do not do that at all. If you've got a telescope, use filters you buy. The glasses, the Eclipse glasses, are about $1. The solar filters are at least $100, and they should be ones that fit on the front of the telescope, okay, not on the back. I will remind you, in Chattanooga and Walker County, the eclipse is partial, and even though there's less than 1% of the sun showing, you still have to wear protection at all times. Do not take your protection off. Or if you use pinholes, do not look at the sun with your unaided eye. And if you do wear glasses, it's okay to look at the sun for 2 or 3 minutes and then look away. Why would you want to look away? You've got the protection on. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. Well, the glasses should protect your eyes, but if I look at the sun for a long time, what's going to happen to the glasses? Yes. They'll get hot. Well, they won't catch on fire, but the filter could start to melt. Okay? So, don't look at the sun for 2 full hours with a pair of glasses on. Look away. Okay? So what will it look like? Man, it's raining outside. I hope it doesn't do this on Eclipse Day. I've already told my weather friends that if it's raining on Eclipse Day, I'm coming looking for them. Okay? So here's what if you had a telescope with a solar filter, here's what the sun would look like at maximum eclipse. There's Birmingham. It has like 95% covered. Atlanta and Huntsville have about the same amount. You can see little bits of the sun peeking down here. That's 97%. And this is you guys. Only the smallest sliver of sun at the bottom is visible. Huh? Nashville will be completely covered. I'll show you Nashville. So the path of totality in Tennessee is this gray line. You can see soddy daisies on the southern path. If you want to see the moon completely cover the sun, you got to be somewhere in this gray area right here. It's the path of totality. Cleveland is in it, Nashville's in it, Clarksville, you know, all sorts of places, Etowah, places like that. So what will the sky look like at totality? Yes, sir, you have a question? Sure.
It would look totally dark. It would look like shade, like the sun. Like the sunlight would start going down, and you couldn't see anything. You could, but it looked like it was night.
Not exactly night. But that's the deal. It'll be twilight. So if you're up in Nashville during maximum eclipse, during totality, here's what the sky would look like. Now, I have waited 38 years to see my next solar eclipse. So I saw one back in 1979, long before y'all were born. And
Long before.
yes, long before. And you're outside in the middle of the day, and you're looking at the sun with your protection on, and all of a sudden the sun goes away. And it looks like this black hole is up there, surrounded by a white ring, which is the corona, its atmosphere. So the sun goes away. It's very freaky. It's the middle of the day, and the sun just goes away. And you see the planets and the brighter stars. Like during this eclipse, you'll be able to see Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus, and the brighter stars like Sirius. So it will be totally freaky. The animals will do their nighttime behaviors. So the horses, I was in a pasture with horses, they just ran around, they didn't know what was going on. Okay? The birds, they started going to their nest. Okay? Ants started going back to their ant hills. Okay? Roosters started crowing. So the animals think it's going to be night soon, okay? So they're doing their nighttime, settling in behavior, and then a couple minutes later the sun comes out and they're like, what the heck, all right? And it had that same effect on our ancestors. A solar eclipse, there's nothing like it in astronomy. A total solar eclipse beats comets and meteor showers and lunar eclipses. Nothing rivals a total solar eclipse. You will remember it for the rest of your life. And when you're in a total solar eclipse, you will understand why our ancestors were so scared of them. Imagine if you didn't know anything about science and you're working outside, gathering your crops, and all of a sudden the sun disappears. Okay? It is very scary. So nothing will rival a total solar eclipse. If you go north and it's clear, you will remember it until the day you die. I guarantee you. So, with that in mind, here, if you have a camera, you can record the stages of a total solar eclipse. If you're up at Nashville, you'll see all sorts of things like this. There are phenomena like prominences, which are these little jets of gas streaking out from the sun. They look like orange licks of flame. There's what we call Bailey's beads, which is caused by sun going through the valleys of the moon. The moon has mountains and valleys and craters. Bailey's beads. And then there's this thing called the diamond ring effect, because it looks like a diamond ring, which is the last bit of sunlight before the moon completely covers the sun. Yes, ma'am. Yes, so I put the eclipse glasses over my glasses.
Good.
Okay? So you can do that. Yes, sir.
Where do you buy those?
Well, I've been told that there's the Science Center, they're getting some in. In Huntsville, we buy them at Kroger, we buy them at Home Depot. There are places, ask your teachers and they should be able to help you. I think here, Food City.
We already have some for every student.
Well, then you're all set. Walker County comes to the rescue. Chattanooga doesn't give away glasses, but Walker County does. Yeah. Yes, sir.
How much would the glasses cost?
About $1 each. Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know if this is practical. My dad said even with the solar eclipse last on, do not look directly at it.
No, you can look directly at it, just don't look longer than 2 or 3 minutes at it. Okay? Okay. So I've talked about that. So back in 1918, people had horses. Nowadays we have cars. Okay? There are 200 million people within a day's drive of that eclipse path. So, as you can gather, traffic is expected to be a nightmare, especially on the interstates. It is expected that the population of Tennessee on Monday will double. There will be as many people flowing into Tennessee as live in it, if not more, which means interstates 24 and 75 will turn into big parking lots. So if you're going to view the eclipse with your family or relatives or friends, plan to be stuck in traffic. Take snacks, take drinks, take entertainment, your iPad with your movies. Because, you know, you may think you're going up the road just a soddy daisy. Hey, it's like 30 minutes, but you may end up a couple of hours or longer trying to get back, you know. So bear that in mind, that traffic will be a nightmare. Okay? There are going to be people flowing into this state and others from everywhere to see this eclipse. I know a dude in Germany flying into Nashville. Okay? So there are people coming from all over to see this eclipse. So what's NASA going to be doing? Well, we're going to have NASA experts. We're going to have live feeds from airplanes and balloons and the space station. And we're going to have people on the ground all along the path from Oregon to South Carolina that will have cameras to show you guys the eclipse. It won't be just NASA, the Science Channel. You know, Discovery Channel, CBS will all be televising the eclipse. So even if it's cloudy here, you can watch it on TV. It won't be the same. You won't get the creepy feeling, okay? And I mean, the creepy feeling is why a lot of people chase eclipses all around the world. Nothing is like it. So it won't be the same as being in person, but at least you'll get to see it. NASA is going to put about 50 balloons in the air, high-altitude balloons, that Montana State University's coordinated, and they will stream the eclipse from the balloons. We will also have streaming from around the nation, and we'll have real-time imagery from satellites. But other people will be doing the same. The TV will be filled with eclipse stuff. You won't have a problem finding eclipse stuff. And on that note, I'm going to call it. So, anybody got any questions on the eclipse? Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering if you took a camera and took a look and you closed your eyes and took a picture of the eclipse, would it still damage your eyes if you
Well, okay, so you're saying close your eyes. You can't look through the viewfinder of the camera. So you got the problem of how do I know I'm pointing the camera at the sun? So you can't, you know.
Screen on a digital camera?
As long as you don't look at it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not helpful.
No, it's not, is it? I mean, when we use telescopes, you have to use the shadow of the telescope to point us at the sun or computers. Yes, sir. Ma'am. Sorry.
Could it blind animals if they look at it?
That's the good thing. You know, animals have enough common sense not to look at the sun.
Not my dog.
Okay? So, there have been no records of... I got an email from some lady wanting to know if she's going to have to take her dog to the vet after the eclipse. And the answer is no, okay? Animals will do their normal nighttime behavior. So, if your dog goes to sleep early, then your dog is going to lay down and go to sleep. And then he's going to go, why is the sun back, you know? Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah, chickens. chickens, they'll hold their head up and drown themselves when it's raining, so I highly doubt that they won't look at the sun.
They will not. I was there. There were chickens in Washington along with horses, and the chickens went back to their little chicken coops to go to bed.
That's crazy.
Okay?
They will, they'll look up.
Yes.
My dog, we've had her for 3 years, and like for most of the day, for most of the day, she just like stays on her bed and like starts to fall asleep.
Yeah?
Or she like falls asleep on the couch
Sounds like me.
or anywhere else in the house, even on the floor, in the laundry room, anywhere.
So she's going to have a little bit of extra twilight to sleep in. Yes, sir.
If the dog is already wandering and it looks at the sun, will it do it?
Your dog won't look at the sun. Animals are conditioned not to look at the sun. Yes?
What if you like go to Knoxville and then you like look up and it's like the twilight? Can you see like Mars or?
In Nashville, you'll be able to see the brighter planets. Mars will be visible, so will Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury. But Knoxville is a partial eclipse, and it's even worse than Chattanooga. So Knoxville is outside the path of totality. It's too far to the north. Chattanooga's on the south. Knoxville's too far to the north. Yes, ma'am.
So it won't be like dark.
Be like twilight. Have you been outside, catching lightning bugs and it's almost completely dark? That's kind of what it'll be like when you first begin to see the planets and the stars. Yes, sir, you in the green. Nope, it's just the moon passing between the sun and the earth. It's just a temporary block of sunlight. Has no effect on anything. Yes, ma'am. Not from here. You're going to have to go north to... The light we will receive here in Walker County is about equivalent to if you were living on the planet Neptune. But you won't be able to see stars or brighter planets from here in Walker County. Yes, ma'am, you in the blue. You will raise your hand. Did I answer your question?
Christine.
You.
Can you see if it's still put in Jasper?
And Jasper? I don't know where Jasper is. If it's in that path of totality,
It's a little further south.
there's a... If you Google Eclipse 2017, there's a guy who's put together a Google Earth map of the eclipse, and all you got to do is click on a place and it'll tell you whether it's total or partial or whatever. So there's an online map that will tell you everything. Miss, you had a question? Yes.
I was going to ask so it'll be dark at a normal time?
Yes.
Oh, well, not today.
It will be dark at the normal time after the eclipse is over.
Because at like 8 o'clock it's usually like still daytime.
Yes.
I have this thing where like all planets align. What is that called?
That's called an alignment, and it has absolutely no effect on anything despite what the movie 2012 says. Okay? We had one of those alignments back when I was a younger man, the 1980s, again before your time, and they were predicting California was going to fall in the ocean and there'll be all these earthquakes and everything. Nothing happened, okay? So don't worry about planetary alignments. Huh?
Also, the world was supposed to end in 20-something, but...
It didn't, did it? So much for that. Yes, sir.
Dr. Cooke, we really appreciate you being with us. I know we just got a couple of minutes left, but I would like to ask if you wouldn't care to share why you chose NASA, why you were so interested in space tech, and then what you had to do to get into such a job.
Oh, man. So I wanted to be an astronomer, right? So I hung out at the Science Center in the old Rock Springs in the planetarium as a kid. And you guys have a science center in the planetarium. And I decided I want to be an astronomer. So I went to college and I got my undergraduate degree, and then I went to the University of Florida. And I know a lot of you don't like the Gators, but that's okay. Okay? So I went to the University of Florida and I got a degree in astronomy. And then while I was there, I started to do spacecraft stuff. I worked on an experiment that flew to Halley's Comet. And that got me all fired up, and I decided I wanted to do that for a living rather than teach. And then when I came to NASA, I started working on space station. That was the first thing I did. And now I do meteors, rocks falling from the sky. I help designers place shields to protect their spacecraft, and I forecast meteor showers so the astronauts don't go out during the meteor shower. So I kind of fell into it, and most days I love it. Yes, sir.